Today, I'm joined by Nathan Lambert of the nonprofit AI2. He trains models and writes the Interconnect newsletter, as well as Jasmine's son, who writes the Substack at Jasmine and previously worked at Substack for a while. This is a Vamp show. We talk about AI and media, why America needs its own DeepSeek, and bike noises. Anyways, hope you enjoy.
Jordan bullied me into getting a new mic. Like literally, like texted, and then like I think I didn't seem sufficiently persuaded, so then he like called me and was like, "Jasmine, you need to get a new mic."
I was upset about it because you had this really fancy, nice interview with Kevin Roos, and
it's just Kevin.
But it's hard to swallow the content when it's so jagged.
Kevin's really gotten AGI pilled. I don't know if somebody tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, when did this happen?
Kevin's so AGI pilled. He says it was the Sydney moment, which is interesting to me. But because I asked him,
sync.
because he said that he was AI pilled when he was at Davos, and a bunch of CEOs. This is like many years ago. This is not many, but it was like 2019 or 2020. He was at Davos, and all these CEOs were like, "Yeah, I just want to like automate my entire workforce." And that was when he got AI pilled. But that was like, when did you get AGI pilled? And he said it was Sydney. It's kind of wild.
I need to have faster home internet.
Nathan looks kind of like, you know how everyone complains about how on Netflix all of the movies have really bad color grading now, but they're like really like high definition. This is what Nathan looks like.
Speaking of Netflix, we're 2 weeks out. My brother is in Happy Gilmore 2. It's coming out.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
July 25th. Put it on your calendars. No AI used in the making of this movie, I think. All the effects are real.
ChinaTalk watch party.
Should be fun. We'll have a ChinaTalk live stream, perhaps.
Your brother's an actor?
Yeah. So he graduated from college and was doing very small things for 6 months, and all of a sudden sent an audition in that Adam Sandler thought was funny. So
Whoa.
He got cast as one of Adam Sandler's children in Happy Gilmore 2. There are 3 others. So there's 4 brothers in total. The other 3 all have like 5 million Instagram followers and were like fucking people. And my brother just like, he's been acting for a very long time, but in school things, and then graduated, decided he wanted to be an actor, and lightning has struck.
So cool.
So he's been putting his outfit together for the premiere.
Wow.
Walking into random Soho stores being like, I'm going to be in a movie. Can you give me free clothes? And they all say no. Hopefully this is the last time that stores say no to giving him free clothes. But yeah, we're all very excited. I've been going through
telling me I could get free clothes?
That's what I'm thinking. Who wants to sponsor me?
Like I could have gotten free clothes. Like I'm going on Lex. Give me some clothes.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So, yeah. So, what are the perks that come with the 9-figure AI salary? Like, are any of these people getting like, if you're an NBA star, you also get the shoe deal, right? So, like, what do you get alongside your giant AI researcher contract?
Nothing. An assistant.
A human assistant? It's not bad.
Yeah, only for the people who are smart enough to ask for it.
Do you guys know what these people are spending their money on?
They just put it. Half of them probably put it in the S&P, and half of them put it into YOLO AI startups because they're so AGI pilled that they think they gotta like get ahead of the curve.
But like, do you know anyone who's doing something, an AI researcher who's doing something fun with the money?
Define fun.
Like
I don't know, like getting into
islands,
like a cool hobby.
I don't know.
Like Zuck is now doing fun things with his money, right? Like he has like the Kobe beef cows. Like that's fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Like I think Zuck's rebrand is good because before he was trying to act like a proper professional person, but now everything he does is like what normal people's idea of like, this is what I would do if I was rich, and he just like goes and does them. And so it's like this like fantasy projection thing, and so it's like, oh, Zuck is doing exactly what I would do if I was super rich.
Back to salaries. We have so I asked ChatGPT for all of the deals that the AI labs have struck with news organizations. So News Corp, which is Wall Street Journal, New York Post, Times of London, like a long tail, They got apparently $250 million over 5 years. It's not even all cash. It's cash plus open AI credits. And then the other ones, like the FT is like $5 to $10 million a year. This is like
that's brutal.
1/10 of an AI researcher for an entire newsroom. I mean, these journalists, man, they got to strike a higher
$100,000 to
bargain.
throw a party. I got $100,000 for free to throw a party. We could do that 10 times a year.
We got $100,000 to throw a party.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
guys.
Oh yeah, should we tease this, Nathan?
Maybe.
Maybe.
What's the party?
We'll keep them in suspense.
We have to be
Europe's-
very vague.
NeurIPS 2025. See you there. But yeah, Jasmine, like, what is the like? I
Should we do TPPN equivalent from NeurIPS? Where it's chat for 2 hours live?
I think we have to.
You got to
We'll
get a
have people
gong
drop
So
in.
funny.
and get a RAM sponsorship and a gong.
We're sponsored by Cisco.
Okay, so news really is just worth nothing.
I don't think these people know how to strike a deal. I think it's just like the salaries are unimaginable. Like I was talking to a journalist friend who has been reporting on like the Facebook poaching offer salary numbers, and it's just like it is, I think, totally unimaginable to somebody who's been in an industry where you climb your way up from like $40,000 at a local newsroom. Like I think the numbers stop being real after like $500,000, and then they all become the same. And I just don't think these people like know how to value themselves or negotiate or even have internalized how much money these people have. But it's crazy because I'm like, you need people to go into the real world and convince people to tell you their secrets. And like AI actually can't do any of that stuff. So I do feel like people are just like seriously underselling themselves. Like the models are not going to work with just like Reddit comments. Like people have to find new information that's in people's heads and bring it out.
Maybe I'll take the other side of this. I mean, what percentage of queries that people ask? Yeah, I mean, what percentage of queries that people ask the models are going to be tied to the news, right? Pretty low. I mean, people are asking a lot of things about like, you know, I feel like the way these models are going to make money is like helping businesses run better and, you know, doing scientific discoveries and, you know, automating the production of software, but like reporting about what's happening in the White House or an industry or, you know, analysis of like last night's like baseball game or something just seems to be like an infinitesimal portion of what it is that is making it. And it's, you know, it's not like these news organizations, I mean, I'm sure they tried to negotiate for more, right? I don't think news related queries are like all that relevant
I don't
to
think
the
it's
future
news
of
related
these
queries.
companies.
I think it's that you have to like update your world model. So like, so for example, so like me and some friends are going to go to China in August, and we are trying to figure out for some people how they're going to get visas. But China has updated its visa rules like quite a few times within the last like year or two. And so like I was, because at first she like my friend had these like very complicated questions, and I was like, I don't know, go ask ChatGPT. That's what I would do. And she was like, I actually can't because like the visa rules are changing fast enough, and like ChatGPT is like hallucinating old shit. Like I have to do like people right now go on
Has
Reddit,
she used
etc.
O3?
She has used O3. This is someone who's very good at using AI. And I just think that like you need an accurate world model of like what is the current state of play on like different rules and regulations, or like what's the state of this technology. Like if you are asking AI to say like help you choose some like software product to buy for your company, you probably want to know like what the current status of everything is. I don't know.
Yeah. But maybe there's just enough supply of people doing that visa analysis or looking at the company that like, yeah, if you can negotiate the Wall Street Journal against the New York Times against the FT, and you kind of only need one
Yeah,
to,
you do
like,
only
get
need
you
one.
close enough, then yeah, your bargaining power goes down a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very worried about this. Actually, like one of the ways that I like started thinking about the expert data thing that I got interested in was because I started getting really stressed like a couple years ago that the open web would die because like AI would just like kill all of the business models to the open web, and like therefore like all the user generated content on the internet, whether it's journalists, whether it's bloggers, whether it's like Yelp reviewers, all of this was supported by like search and advertising. And that is all going to go away. But like models still need some people to interface with the real physical world and find stuff out and like put it in the models. And so then like these like data provider companies, like the Scales, the Mercors, like the internal human data teams at these companies are just hiring people directly now to go into the world and describe stuff and give it to them. And it'll all be closed. And no one else will be able to find the data openly because now OpenAI just straight hires journalists to write stuff for them personally that never sees the light of day and nobody else ever sees it. And every company is going to do this. And so I'm very stressed out about this.
I think the cumulative content is growing faster than the rate of them capturing what exists. Due to AI being good, the total volume of content is increasing so much, and the total usage of the internet is increasing so much, and we just happen to be in the interlude where no one has figured out ads with AI yet. And once we figure out ads with AI, it'll all look remarkably samey.
But do you think that that I understand that the total amount of content is going to increase, but is the total amount of content like about the real world going to increase? Because like you can't just feed meta stuff into each other.
I don't
like,
think data annotators are doing things that actually are particularly reflective of the real world.
I guess I'm just like, who's going to go review the restaurants and like write the travel guides and like find out secrets?
I think people are still going to do that.
Really?
Or like people plus AI. Be like, I'm going to text my AI and be like, this restaurant is really good. Leave a review.
Okay. You're an optimist. I'm stressed.
What was your Mercor question, Jasmine? You had something for Nathan.
Oh, I just wanted to know, like, I was like, is open data the future also? Or sorry, not open data. I was like, is expert data the future? Why are all of these companies hiring people for $200 an hour to like label and create data?
It's just the frontier of training. I think that Scale's business model, even starting before ChatGPT shows this, which is just, they just do what is the current thing to enable people to hill climb on what needs to be hill climbed on. I think if you talk to Anthropic and other people, actually the human ratio will go down. But I think it'll just kind of be this slow march of you just need somebody to do some of the grunt work to give the models the first little bit of ability in a new area. Especially science stuff is just so hard to find good data on. I think like code is one thing and math is somewhat programmatic, but it's just all this like GPQA stuff where you just need to hire a bunch of random grad students and have them label high quality data. And that's what this, I mean, especially when the reasoning models are a big thing looking for verifiable tasks. I don't know. It's obviously impossible to know what the next paradigm looks like, but it's just like that's kind of how it goes. I don't think like Scale's not in a great place because they took a reputational hit, but the industry was never bound to be a like an it's not, they're not tech companies, but it's like they're like Deloitte's almost. They're just gonna like be doing a growing pool of the work and be around, but kind of suck for like none of us want to go work at them. But I think they're gonna exist.
The labs have internal human data teams now. They do some of it themselves.
Yeah, it's all the B tiers that use Deloitte.
Do you think that we're going to be in a world where like at your company, like the humans are just going to be labeling stuff for their internal models to like do the task? Like you're just like teaching the AI to do your shit for you. And so everyone's kind of a data
like
labeler in that world.
These 12 people at Meta aren't just going to sit there and label data. They're going to read data and then tell somebody else to label certain things for them. Data labeling is super time intensive relative to what you need to actually do. Like even reading data takes a long time, but you need to get hundreds to thousands of instances that are diverse. I think it's pretty hard to get diversity. If you sit down with any task, even if simple, it's like write 10 simple poems. The first 3 are really easy. And the last 7 are really hard. And it's just like kind of been the grind of it.
I want to zoom out to our, you said 2045 was too far out, but let's go back. Let's say 2035 when the types of decisions that CEOs make, AI will strictly dominate a human. Where, imagine if you put AR glasses on Mark Zuckerberg and sort of ingest all the information that he ingests about his company and how it's performing and the different divisions and the people, like, you have to make lots of strategic calls as a CEO and interact with lots of people. But an AI, it seems like much clearer to me that we will be at that world where sort of like an AlphaGo paradigm of just like it being better at maximizing revenue than any human can be. And yes, like we'll still have, like, presumably there will still be work that humans are doing in these organizations. But I don't know what happens once like the sort of most important calls end up being, the companies that just surrender to the AI have a better job, end up performing better than the ones where you still have these like pesky humans who get tired in the loop.
I don't really think they're going to be the best CEOs. They're going to be the best like SVP. Like the CEO needs to set a vision and understand the context of what's going. Like the border between AI being the next, like if Zuckerberg had figured out AI was the thing and not Reality Labs, like that's the CEO level direction. But the SVP is like, I'm just going to turn the screw and extract maximum revenue out of Reels. And like that's the thing that the AI is going to be good at, and middle management. I think even into the future, unless some of these AI 2027 fever dreams become true.
I guess my take on this from like when I was a PM in my last job was that it made me more bearish on this sort of automation happening, because like what I decided at the end of my job was like product management specifically, but I think a lot of management and strategic roles are like social organizational roles and not task roles. So like, for example, there are a bunch of tasks I did all the time, but then when I left my job and I quit and I was offboarding, I was trying to figure out like, oh, who should do my tasks, and like write down a list of tasks to offboard and hand to somebody else. And actually like what it turned out is like, I don't really do that many tasks, or like the tasks I do are like kind of irrelevant. Like anybody can run a stand up, anyone can write a PRD, anyone can like bug bash some like new alpha feature or whatever. But like the point of me existing in the org was not any of those tasks. Like at many points in time, one of the tasks would be swapped out and handed to somebody else. But like the reason for me to be there is literally to align stakeholders, or so that like when people disagree on stuff, everyone can like agree to look at one person and just have them like make the decision, take the hit, be like the like convener or the decider or something like that. And like that was like significantly more important just to have one person to be quote unquote trusted to make those calls and be an interface than like any particular task that I did. So I think if people got to the point where everyone trusted AI in that sense, then you could do that. Or you'd have a CEO who's just an avatar for the AI, and then they sort of like present it in they're like a friendly face on like the AI brain. So like I could see it kind of working, but like I don't think it's about like task automation or anything like that. I don't think CEOs and managers and whatever are like doing tasks.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how far out we want to push this timeline, because I think at a certain point it will be the AI, right?
Yeah.
And you can take this from the private sector and into politics as well, where like probably after we're in the world where the companies that trust the AI the most are the ones that the most successful, you'll start having politicians that are wearing AR glasses that tell them what to say in every interview in response to every question. And it's like, yeah, like there's going to be some amount of like personal charisma and authenticity that you'll need there. But like if the AI strictly dominates you from a I want to become mayor or I want to become president perspective, and it can just like get you there faster, then I don't know, we're in a really weird world, because like, our whole system is made up of humans and their competing interests, not just like these sort of avatars that are trusting like models built by God knows who to, I don't know, make all the calls for them.
Depends on kind of the AI density that we have relative to current structures. And if AI becomes truly autonomous, and there are a lot of like mini AI entities that exist in companies and stuff that are like these middlemen and do random things, and like the more independent AI is, it's like almost like the more you need AI to deal with it. But if AI only ends up being like augmenting humans and it's like a power tool that people use, I don't see it being. It's much more complementary. It's like this full autonomy thing that people have always talked about, I think is really important to unlock to get these visions. But if we don't have any major algorithmic breakthroughs and we just make like what is ChatGPT 10 times, like 100 times better, I don't think it's going to poof into that.
All right. Well, maybe we take us back to the present and the ground up automation that's happening. Nathan, how's Claude Code doing for you?
It's great. I don't have to write plotting code or look at data in raw form much at all. You just tell Claude to make the plot that you want, and then you look at it.
Why
And
is
I think
everyone
that-
so obsessed with plotting? Literally every single friend I have who's like, Cloud Code is amazing, coding agents are amazing. I'm like, what do you do? And they always talk about plotting.
Because it's a way to tell the story through data. It's like you have a fixed data set and you're trying to change it into some sort of expression that helps tell your story. And I think that most people are actually like most storytelling has to do with some sort of data. And now it's far easier to manipulate that for everybody, not just somebody that was willing to write code for 2 hours to maybe get this silly plot out. It's just like the rate of things that you can churn out. So like I have existing data stores of like open models and data sets. I could just churn out plots from that and see like, oh yeah, like there are way more notable models that are showing up from Quen fine tunes, even if it's all US companies fine tuning Quen and releasing them, than Llama ever was. It's like people use the Llama models, but not as many people actually fine tune them compared to Quen with all these different size scales and stuff. And it's like, I have a plot for that. It's like, I just asked Claude, like, is this true? And it's like, here's the plot. It's like,
Can you explain for someone who's like never made this kind of plot before? Like, what are the actual like normal skills that you need to make a plot? Like, to what extent is it like bitch work versus like it requires judgment or something?
probably the salience thing is to be able to tell Claude how to make your database for you. If you have the data set structured, you literally just type into Claude in some repo and you say plot this, and it like tells you how to do it. If your data is not organized, or you have some other oddity like that, and Claude might just be like, I don't understand the task. You have to guide it a lot more on information extraction, or like what data structure you expect. Or for example, I was literally like pasting in my articles that list models and data sets, and like some of them are paywalled. I have to put them all in. It's like I can paste it in and tell it to format, and then it extracts all of them, and that's like a bit of manual labor with Claude. But if you have your data stored nicely, especially most independent analysts aren't working with huge data, it's just niche data, it'll churn through it in no time. I think like big data is obviously not quite there yet. You would have to instruct it how to pull from your data, because it's not going to just learn magically like what SQL queries it needs to call based on what's in your database and stuff. It would need a little bit more nudging. But with this kind of niche of you just have your little corner of the world with the, like, say like hundreds of data points and tens of features, as long as you can generally explain the notion of it, it'll just have the plot in seconds. This literally took hours, which
like you were getting bottlenecked on plotting before.
It's more if I could just do more creative analysis. Like I wasn't doing this analysis, but now me and somebody I work with, it's like we could just try things and we could try to put together more reports, or we could scrape Hugging Face to get data. We just tell Claude to write code that does it for us. And it's just things in our life that is already bottlenecked on time. I wouldn't have time to do. Like I have a job. It's just like these additive things are much more tractable.
If folks want to play around, this website data-is-plural.com is like, this guy has just been curating interesting data sets for years now. Prison commissary prices, European Parliament activity, power outages, extrajudicial killings in Bangladesh. I mean, it's like, it's much more fun. It's like, it's really fun. You just ask questions. What's it correlated with? Like, is the weather related to extrajudicial killings in Bangladesh? And no, I am not curious enough to spend 2 hours to ask that question, but I am curious enough to spend 5 minutes. And Claude lets you do that, especially with these like pre-cleaned up ones. So
I really think people in their niche and Substackers, it's a really big leverage thing, because you like know where some weird data sources are that you could stick together. And Jordan has stuff on China, and like I have this stuff on scraping Hugging Face and know the model providers, and I just have all of that around. So telling Claude to do it is really easy, whereas no one else is going to know just to do that with Claude. But that's just kind of lets everybody go one level deeper on their niche in a way that's pretty much free.
Yeah.
Because think about, like, there's a lot of these times where it's like this plot will go totally viral off some niche piece of information that's largely repackaging things that people already know. And that's the type that I'm going for. It's like, how do you make the, like, just some visual for something that you're already saying that could just 10x the impact of what you were already going to say.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like I want a beautiful pull quote generator. That's my equivalent because I don't really do data. Not really my writing set of things, but like, you know, if I could get the viral quote pulled and like put in a graphic that will look beautiful for Twitter and or make everyone look very, very, very angry in the right way, that could work too. I spent a lot of time thinking about how to highlight pull quotes. Actually, the equivalent maybe for me, which I've like thought about before but haven't really done because it feels like somehow more fraught and relates a bit to the AI and writing thing, is like every time I do a reported article, which I don't do that often, but like where I have to like interview a bunch of people and like I have all these transcripts and I have to like make a 1,500 word like news article out of it. Like news articles are not written in fun and interesting ways, right? Like there's not really like voice in news articles. And so like the way I write it doesn't matter that much. Like when I'm writing essays for my Substack, I kind of care about how it sounds, but like I don't really care when I'm doing news because what's interesting is the quotes that I got. What's interesting is like sort of like just packaging up and like the information that you have revealed from people. And so what I do is I always like open a ChatGPT and a Claude project. I use both just to compare the models. And I upload like my like really shit like bullet point outline of like generally this is how it should go. And then I upload like 15 transcripts, like totally raw transcripts of like hour-long conversations that I had with like everybody I interviewed. And I probably got the transcripts like via like AI transcription too. And then I maybe upload like 3 background articles of like things I read related to the topic that might have like some good facts in them. And I'm like, can you write a 1,500 word news article in the style of the New York Times or something, or like whatever my assignment is? And it always does a completely passable job. This is like one of the things that like AGI told me a little bit. I was like, is there a world where I should actually, whether I or other reporters should not be spending time writing sentences in news articles? You should be spending all of your time coming up with story ideas and interviewing people, and then just be like dumping that stuff into LLMs and having them write the articles, and like instead of you like combing through like 15 like hour-long interview transcripts, because like it's basically 80% passable every time with like a fact check and an edit afterwards.
I feel
and then
like
you
these
wouldn't be
articles
bottlenecked on
should just
writing.
be short-term video then. Like, why is this article an article if 90% of it is stuff that I don't want to read? That's like part of my problem with a lot of writing is just kind of like, why am I reading this filler text?
But it's not filler. Like it's mostly just quotes with a little bit of connective tissue. Like most news articles are pretty bare bones. Like they're not really telling you that much, right? I mean, you could say it, make it shorter, make an 800 word article, but
I
like
don't read a lot of news.
Well, I mean, I think the thing with the news, which is sort of frustrating, and I feel this with books as well, is like it really could be personalized. And like that New York Times article, when I am reading a New York Times article about China and technology, what I am looking for out of it is very different than if I'm reading a review of an opera or a restaurant, right? And sort of it's the same with books, right? Where like there are some books where I've already read 10 books about the topic, and this is the 11th, and what I want out of it is very different. And I'm sort of surprised that AI isn't there yet, of like at the front end, these sort of news organizations and publishing houses being able to kind of repackage nonfiction factual stuff in a way that takes into account the sort of personal knowledge I'm bringing to these questions. And I am
that should be like a browser
excited
thing,
for that
right?
to exist. What?
It should be like a browser or a personal agent thing. Like the news websites wouldn't know, but like your browser, your agent would know.
Yeah. ChatGPT will know. I mean,
Yes.
Sam Altman will probably know.
Sam Altman personally will know. The thing that I want is like I've been thinking about this a lot. Where like when I open either a news article or like a really long blog post or a report, I often want an extension or a little AI thing that just immediately tells me whether the headline is true or what the answer to the question in the headline is. This drives me fucking crazy. Or you have this like clickbait headline and it makes some like insane claim. And I just want to know by what evidence or warrant they have justified that headline. But they want me to read like 4,000 words to find out. And I just want to know if the headline is true.
Wow, sounds like you got nerd sniped. Sounds like it's working.
Well, okay, so my
I just
new
ignore
thing
that shit.
now I just use I use Dia. I'm trying to use DMOR, like which is like the browser company's like new thing because it has like in browser chat that's like very good at reading and summarizing pages, so that I can like do a keyboard shortcut and I write summarize and I have my like custom summary instructions and it will tell me all of the information. But it doesn't know everything about my context yet, so it's got to figure that out.
Man, those $40,000 a year journalists, Jasmine, you're just ripping their heart out. Query by
Nathan, I
query.
summarized your American DeepSeek post.
And it's like the middle sentences that are a summary and bold, 2 bullet points.
You wrote your own
Yeah.
summary?
Yeah, it's in the middle.
Why did you put it in the middle? It's got to be at the top, man.
No, because you had to read it. All right. Well, we really should have led with this. But Nathan, why does America need DeepSeek?
Because
Or need its own
losing
DeepSeek?
we're losing the R&D ecosystem to China. Not only through our own goals, they're just trying harder. If you could ignore the political own goals for a second and just look at the fact that they're trying harder and getting rewarded for it by A, doing a lot of open research, and B, publishing a lot of open models. And I think that there's a natural tension there between it's like Chinese government in like how they engage with their tech sector, and I think that is just a natural thing for Americans to want a open foundational ecosystem to important technologies so that any person can come and study questions that they have that is at least close enough to where the technology is actually proceeding. I think historically the trend is that the ecosystem in the US is falling further and further behind the leading models. And that's kind of why China is taking it over, is because the gap that they have between leading models and what you could do research on is constant or arguably narrowing. And we should do this because ideologically and practically it's the right thing to do. It's not that expensive. I think you could do it for far less than Meta has spent on a few researchers for their new super alignment team. There are people that want to do this. I work at one of the companies that has the talent, but not really the compute to do it. We're not alone. I think there's countless academics that are sick of the paper mill and want to do something higher impact and care about the long term of this ecosystem. I think it's just an easy win that's sitting in front of the country that wants quote unquote a like AI dominance and has been mostly catering to big companies that will get their way either way when there's kind of a cheaper glaring hole in the policy / public sector / private sector thing. So there's a much nicer way to package what I'm working on as a ambitious goal rather than just like, oh, we're doing science.
So to be clear, what we have, the dynamic we've had over the course of the past few years is Google, Anthropic, and OpenAI kind of distancing themselves from the rest of the pack when it comes to developing models. All 3 of these companies, for whatever reason, deciding that they want to keep their models closed. Closed meaning that researchers can't kind of like get into the weights. There are not open licenses about what you can do to sort of like, play with the models and use them to your own purposes. We had Meta and Facebook, which was behind and then kind of latched on to this theory that, they could gain influence and market share by having open models. They were sort of open, and they were also just not very good, which is why
Llama 2 and Llama 3 were good. Llama 3 was good, and they did a lot. I think they were becoming the term for open model, and then they just kind of like took too long, and then they took too long, and the next one with Llama 4 wasn't very good. I think even more than just the models, there's culture here that is very indicative in between the lines. Like, so there's all these rumors that DeepSeek R1 was distilled from O1 in some clever way, like them hacking the API. And that's one thing. OpenAI was already closed at the time. But when Gemini released their first reasoning model, they had the reasoning chains visible. And then the accepted wisdom is that they turned that off because DeepSeek distilled from the open models, and the new DeepSeek R1 0528 sounds a lot like Gemini. And this is just an obvious culture where the US is far more concerned about the Chinese ecosystem taking parts of their IP than they are about winning in the long term. And I think that's the fundamental thing, is that the US is playing like a kind of like scared frontier model dance mostly because they're like too AGI pilled, where they're like super intelligence is definitely coming. We got to bunker down the hatches. Where China's kind of like, we're just going to grind this out over the next decade and dominate the low level. And I think that it's just like China's kind of probably operating in the more likely outcome of the distribution. Yes, there's probability mass on ASI in a few years, but like it's actually not that likely. And if we don't change course, then all these random researchers in freaking college that are starting to learn how to train a neural network are going to build on Quen, not something made in the US. And it's very hard to map the second order consequences of that.
All right. So what are we talking here? Low nine figures, Nathan? How
What
big
is
is our
a
hat?
9-figure? 7 is what is 9?
9 figures.
I can't
$100
count
million.
that high. Yeah, so low 9 figures.
Okay. And this can be government money. This can be Jensen's money. This could even be Satya's money. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of PR gain if you're trying to negotiate all these AI diffusion rules to say, by the way, we're going to give a world a big alternative to what the best of what the Chinese labs have to offer. So
Yeah, it's not a lot of money. The 9 figures thing is based on approximately like 10K H100 GPUs for like a 1 to 3 year commitment. Like that's where the number is. It's not that like random ass startups have that and they're gonna go belly up.
Yeah.
So like
I mean,
then
do
the
you think
VCs
that
are gonna take the GPUs back.
is the reason this isn't happening like because of concerns around like open source causing security issues and the whole like Dario memeplex of like, oh, like terrorists are gonna like use the ASI to do things, we gotta whatever. And like also I'm curious if Jordan thinks that open source AGI is a national security threat, because most of the people who are worried about this, who have had a lot of influence in Biden AI world and to a lesser extent but still an extent Trump AI world, these people mostly use China as the reason.
I think that it's a second order effect of this, but in reality, we're not asking to open source O5 when OpenAI releases it in 2 years. We're asking in 18 months to have a model of O3's capability be open sourced. And at that point, we're going to know so much about the model where whether you like it or not, you're getting it from the US or China. So society's got to be prepared for I'm forgetting the word I want to say, but like AI is going to be everywhere at that point. So like what is the difference if it's an American versus Chinese model that people are looking at? It's probably better if we know all about it than just dropping something in from abroad. So I think that maybe we need to work on this messaging more and get people to just accept the reality that these models are coming, whether or not they're American or whether or not they're from Europe or like close allies that are going to actually say what the models are from and what they're doing.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Nathan here. I mean, I think if what we are optimizing for is university researchers to be able to have like, to be able to be like, a year and a half behind where the closed labs are. Like if we have some crazy huge takeoff and massive sort of impacts
not even
on
where
society,
the labs are, but what the labs have released. Like there's a time lag there too.
Sure.
Like that's an extra few months.
Yeah, I'm not super stressed about it. I feel like whatever the labs can provide us, if closed source stays a year and a half or 2 years ahead, will be like enough defense of like what people can do fucking around with Nathan's model once he gets his 2 years of LeBron James in GPU.
I don't
form.
actually get the money personally, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I think like, yeah, and sort of the base case is that there are going to be models that are going to do this. They can either be from an American nonprofit, an American for-profit, or a Chinese for-profit, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Low probability European for-profit.
Yeah,
they might pull it out of the bag. People get mad at me for not mentioning Europe. I'm just mentioning them. Very low probability.
Yeah, until they start giving you lots of money, Nathan, I think we can leave them off of this. But
I mean, I'm very pro open source. Like, I think that we should do this 100%. But I just feel like a lot of the like folks who are quote unquote too AGI pilled are like, they're like, no, we should just like block China even harder with like even stricter like enforcement of controls, and should just like lock down. This is like open sourcing like nuclear technology, right? Like that's what they think.
It's so hopeless. I mean, even
I
if
mean, I
you-
think this is
you-
wrong, but like
you
I'm
read a
certainly
bunch
like
of
people are
that-
saying this.
Yeah, you read people on No China, and they're like, it's unlikely for the Chinese companies to conglomerate all their resources, but it's not impossible. And if DeepSeek already exists, like, there could be a push where if the restrictions get hard enough, the Chinese government is just like, look, we have to combine these, and they do it. Then
Yeah,
they're like,
I mean, I
it's
think
like,
that they do think
can't
China's going to
control
nationalize
this.
the labs.
So it's like then they're just gonna then there's like then you're relying on the whims of Xi Jinping on the open or closed button, and I don't think they can have any real game theory on that. Maybe Jordan does.
Yeah, I mean it's sort of like the whole nationalize the labs thing. Like, is China going to do that? Just is a real red herring. I mean, China can get as much compute as they want from Malaysia right now.
I want to poke the buttons of the ASI people and say the real AI Manhattan project should be the open source one, and that's where the money should go, and not whatever the fuck they were talking about for the last 2 years with this like put all the researchers in a bunker and do AGI.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if we're going to figure out how to make this stuff safe and interpretable and controllable, like that is the reason why you want near frontier models to be open source for people who are not, enormously financially conflicted to, play around with this stuff and understand it. And it's very hard to do that if you're playing on technology which is comparatively ancient. Maybe you can do it on models which are Chinese, but I think that's like another layer of complexity in doing science, which doesn't necessarily need to be there for the low price of $100 million.
I think there's a lot of complexity on the open ecosystem as well right now, because 2025 has also been a banner year for the quality of open models that we've had access to. And we know that OpenAI is going to release something that is going to be quite good in a specific niche. I think that the progression is kind of diverging, where the closed models are on the path we have known, and then the open models are kind of like filling in these specific niches where OpenAI has gotten a lot of requests from, say, healthcare to release a model that they can use on a certain on-prem thing. But that's not this American DeepSeek thing that is tracking the capability progress. That is like building certain models to enable real world use cases of open things. And doing this frontier level, fully open thing makes all of that way easier. But there's going to be a lot of mixed messaging where it's like, yes, okay, it's already a banner year for open source. OpenAI is releasing things. We had DeepSeek with the permissive license and all these things. So we're kind of saying both of these things, and I think messy messaging has been one of the long limiting factors of this open thing. There's so many disagreements on licenses and open weights versus open data and all of this. And that's while the AGI doomer storytelling is so good. So I feel like it's always been that kind of problem.
What is the Zuckerberg rationale for going closed source? There's been some reporting that sort of Llama is over and whatever his team is going to do.
Alex Wang is really into AI safety, and he's got the reins.
There's no way. Is he really? I don't think Alex Wang is into AI safety.
Have you read his manifesto? Didn't he release a manifesto on like government taking over AI?
No, he's a total merc. Alex Wang doesn't believe in anything. There's no way.
Well, but I mean, I think this is a Zuckerberg call, not an Alex Wang call. I mean, this is like a CEO business strategic decision. But I mean, is he going to make his money back selling like API access to whatever?
It's all driving the ads.
Yeah.
It's all about
so why does he care
stuff.
if he open sources it?
Well, I think they're not going to get traction in the open as much. We've already seen this with Llama 3 versus Llama 4, where Llama 3 is like very nice size categories where people do research and figure out how to deploy it, while Llama 4 is these weird, heterogeneous, like bespoke architectures depending on their internal use cases. And the more they go down that path, it's not doing this research thing. So they might just be like, it's not worth the lawsuits. We're losing to Quen. Throw in the towel.
Like, it just wasn't
our
working.
top researchers aren't excited about it. If there are 12 people join, and they're only joining if it's like they'd only join because they want to do closed source super intelligence, and none of them want to do this academic thing.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of talent capital you can't burn on day one. You kind of have to give to like it's as a function
Yeah.
of the people.
Why do the researchers, like, let's say they're not doomers, because I like don't think that all the people who joined are doomers. I think like the most AGI pilled people stayed at OpenAI, Anthropic, wherever. But like, why do they want to do closed source? Is it easier in other ways?
It's a pain to release stuff.
Okay. Why is it a pain? Sorry,
It
I don't
just
know
takes so
anything.
much long tail work to integrate it into all the libraries, and people complain about things, and you have to develop the models in different ways and stuff. Like there's just like a long tail of crap you have to deal with that blows that
But you
like
can't
don't bloat the
outsource that to
organization.
like the poor, like your cheap $500,000 a year researchers. Like,
You could,
isn't
but
this
I don't
a
want to do
problem?
that crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I
They just
have
want to
a-
go fast. Because like my sense is like probably the people who went to like Meta are like, I want more money and I want to go fast, and I like don't actually care that much about like these like special labs as fancy vision. I just want to like do cool technology with a lot of money. And
Someone said
resources.
this that I think it's also a power thing,
Mm.
where you're gonna go sit next to Zuck and build AGI. Like talk about moving up in the power structures of the world. A lot of people obviously want to do that.
Yeah.
As opposed to like being in the like bowels of OpenAI, maybe you're just like sick of Sam Altman.
I mean, I
Sam
think it's
Altman
really
would
stressful
definitely
to
grind
work
my
at
gears.
OpenAI. Like, I feel like it's very tumultuous there, and there's a lot of internal stuff that probably like is kind of annoying. And my guess is like if I was someone who's like really into the technology, but I actually like didn't really care about like the gentle singularity or like machines of loving grace or whatever, I would probably just be like, and this guy's gonna like just like let me run wild with like all the money in the world, and I'm gonna be like their prize researcher and make $100 million a year. Like that sounds way better to me. I don't need to deal with this like safety politics, whatever.
Or you could just look at the fact of how much money OpenAI is burning on stock that's not real money, and the fact that Meta is a publicly traded company and you want to go get that bag and retire. I've put my Zuck number out there. I never got an email, but I would take my bag and retire.
Are they not already at retirement level, these people?
Yeah, but if it's all tied up in OpenAI fake money, it's like a lot of them have
Yeah.
secondary exits.
Yeah.
I think it's a divide of culture where the people who are in on OpenAI, they're like in, they believe in like
Yeah.
like we shouldn't, don't die, like we're gonna live forever. AGI's coming, like strap in, baby. Like
I mean, no
that shit's
Anthropic
real.
people went, right? Like, or like one guy. Like they're very few, because the Anthropic people are more
Yeah.
true believery.
The true believers are like strap in. I like
Yeah.
had a conversation with somebody that is like, I was explaining why I think that living forever is with our current biology would actually lead in a massive mental health crisis, and he was like, "What the fuck?" It's like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
so weird.
One of my
I was
favorite
like-
SF party topics.
I'm like, I want to die, bro. I'm not gonna handle. I can barely. I'm like a crack case to begin with.
One more thing on the Meta people. So just 2/3 of the folks of the first 11 are Chinese nationals who went to undergrad in the PRC and then came to the U.S. for grad school. So, yeah, closing that. Well,
How
I mean,
will we
this
do it on
interesting
this
thing is, like,
freaking science thing, Jordan? Is there any signs
Well,
of hope?
Well, I think one interesting thing is like maybe there's like a cultural thing of like you're more likely to be like crazy AGI pilled if you didn't grow up in China in the 90s and
Yeah.
are slightly more practical.
No,
Yeah,
I
you, like,
totally
went
think
to high
so.
school
Like,
in the
it
middle of
totally
nowhere.
made sense to me. And like you're like very cracked. You care about the technical stuff. You care about making money and having financial security, and you don't believe in like the AGI storytelling
The
stuff. Like,
normal what is it, Pavlov's hierarchy of needs? They're like, I'm checking all the boxes. You know, like I didn't grow up reading less long in Iowa
Yeah.
in some small town.
Ray Kurzweil didn't make it out there.
Yeah, it's like my parents like went through the Cultural Revolution and like now I'm here and I can live this great life and not deal with these crazy people who believe in science fiction. Like I like to enjoy science fiction in my spare time, but like I am an operator in a capitalist system. I made it to
Yeah.
the US. Like I would like something simpler than like your like crazy like delusions and dreams of grandeur. Here's this guy who's offering me a lot of money and like works at a normal company that like reports revenue every quarter.
Yeah. And I can tell my family that I work at Facebook, and that makes more sense to them. I don't know. Like I just like to me
We're
this
gonna
makes a ton of
save
sense.
Super Intelligence Inc. What's weirder, Hugging Face or Save Super Intelligence Inc. to somebody
Hugging
who's
Face
never
is a
heard of
crazy
AI?
name. Why is Hugging Face called Hugging Face?
I don't know, man. It's on it just ooging cuss.
How are we doing?
It's the French accent.
So how are we doing on science? I think it's a fascinating question because basically what we've had happen in Trump 2 is like the White House as a power structure sort of fall apart, and like because the NSC no longer exists, you have a lot of more freelancing on the part of the different agencies. And like, you know, there are a few people in the White House who can still like coordinate things like Stephen Miller, but a lot of it is just weird stuff where the example for this week and sort of different organizations working at cross purposes of each other, where I think this week we had the Pentagon cut aid to Ukraine, and then a day later Trump was like, oh, sorry, like we actually didn't mean to do that, no one asked me, and now like the aid is going back. And I think sort of because there is not a Stephen Miller-esque figure for science, but there is for immigration.
I do think the AI science thing, I think, will work out. I don't know the timeline for it, or at least the money will show up. I don't know if it'll show up in the right timeline. In the next 4 years, I think they're going to eventually be like, oh, fuck, we have to provide money for AI research. That's not fixing that much realistically. Like so it's like, okay, is the when and if they get that message with the rest of shit at all.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that's gonna happen.
It is interesting because if you look at the sort of funding money that's gone out from the NSF so far, the first half of the year, like the AI money is fine. Like it's basically on the same curve that it was in 2024, but it's all the other things like, you know, bio and physics or whatever that are like half as much of where it was. And part of that I think is like just internal craziness. I mean, they just moved offices for no reason. They like kicked them out and put the FBI in where the NSF has been for the past 20 years just to like
the NSF has been
piss
like
people
homeless.
off.
It's ridiculous. It's so dumb.
Yeah, like the thing I'm not worried about is the AI stuff. Like I think there are enough people who sort of understand that this.
There's
is
so
a
many
really
stupid
big fucking
capitalistic AI ideas that'll exist. Like they have this tax exemption for training runs or now R&D. It's like just to be like research compute is like a double tax deduction, so it's like free for all these companies. And it's like, okay, like this stupid tax nonsense, but like they can do stupid shit like this.
Yeah.
So I guess then the talent part is the part to worry about, like the talent part of the AI pipeline. We are pretty screwed on.
Or well, like U.S. institutions are not like some of them are just not interviewing internationals for their faculty things, and a lot of faculty and grad students included in AI are having direct impacts from this. So it's like,
I mean, like all my friends who are not Americans who are in grad school are like, I gotta get out of this fucking country. Like everyone's just like, every time they leave the country, they're like, I don't know if I'm gonna get back in. A bunch of them are like, I'm not staying in the US anymore, even though they had always planned to stay in the US their entire life. They're like, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to the UK. I'm going back to wherever. Like, I just like cannot stay in this fucking country. It does not want me here. It's making my life hell. I like get scared every time I leave the country. Like I may not be able to go back to school next semester. Like we're so screwed.
Well, it's interesting though, because there's that, but there's also the American companies being the only ones that are going to pay you 9 figures to do this work. So there is a bit of a duality there. And like, look, you need to establish yourself in order to get that type of money. And maybe you do it at Meta
pay,
Toronto.
AI2 pay.
And it's the same thing with like Alibaba Pay or ByteDance Pay or DeepSeek Pay. It's like I don't know, like the market cap of Tencent versus Meta is like what, like Tencent is what, like $100 billion or $200 million or something. I mean, these are just these companies are orders of magnitude smaller, have orders of magnitude less compute to play with. So yeah, the talent's really bad, but like we are the like biggest, richest country, which does have its charms.
Yeah. I mean, it works
if you
to
can
some
get
extent.
past like JFK.
Yeah, like I think, like I think like people are like, some people are gonna stick it out, especially people who like want a gun for the top industry jobs. But like the Meta Toronto, the UK based, Canada based, China based offers just start looking a lot better when you were just like, I don't know if I can leave the country. Like
I think the tech companies are just gonna, they know they can just open bigger offices in all these cities. They're surely doing that. Like that's a recruiting tactic they're definitely doing, which is just like funnel people to international instead of domestic.
Like a lot of the meta hires were OpenAI Zurich.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know.
I mean, I
they
think-
had Zurich.
But the thing is, like, it's like, yes, the talent won't be living in the contiguous U.S., but they'll still probably be like on like Team America's tech ecosystem. I mean, it'll maybe not, or maybe we'll get more like Canadian-based companies and European-founded companies and Chinese-founded companies. But it's I don't know. I feel like I'm always the one defending Trump on this podcast, which I have no.
I think it's
desire
kind
to
of
be,
America's riding out the capitalism. Can it like do the AI thing? Like how many more cycles of scaling and in terms of how much more compute does that give in terms of algorithmic progress in terms of serving products that people actually like? And Sam Altman's carrying the messaging torch, and then NVIDIA and capitalism are kind of carrying the rest of the markets. And it's gone further than most people were expecting. And if that can keep kind of grinding, I think that the U.S. could kind of win by some stupid financialization nonsense in terms of AI capabilities and people actually using it, which would be like the classic is stupid, somehow it happens shit, but I wouldn't be that surprised.
I mean, I'd still bet on America to win, in spite of all this.
Look at us. We're out here winning.
I just feel like we could make the winning a little easier. Like, like
We could make it
we should
feel
get like
better.
a 99% probability of winning and not like a, like an 80 or something like that.
Yeah. I'd put it at like a 60% chance that the type of model that I want to train in the next 18 months actually happens. It's like not that high.
That's pretty
But
high.
I do think that the money will show up. Like I don't know if it'll be AI too, but I think somebody will get the money. And actually,
Yeah.
the technical part is fairly doable.
I mean,
It's
all
like-
these rich guys are like shutting down their philanthropies that are like, like doing stuff for hungry people and like helping girls go to school. So we can use all that money to train giant open source models instead.
Yeah, I think you just need to put crazy people like me in front of a couple billionaires, and one of them will bite. They see too many CEO people that are too polite. You're like, we just need to do this, dude. Like, just give me the money, it's gonna happen, and we'll show up in 6 months, and
I look forward to
we'll make our
fundraising
skunk
tour.
works, and it's like it's fine. I haven't gotten any calls. No Zuck email, no billionaire calls.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Where's Nathan?
Yeah, fucked. Podcast is done.
Uh,
Where's the fucking inversion table or something? I think some weird Dylan sounds. Should I get some nice sounds for your recording while Jasmine's
I have
not here?
buttons on my.
No, we're doing real sounds, dude. Bike sounds.
I got a mic pad. We're doing it.
We gotta get these bike wheel noises in here. People like this game. Yeah. It's a nice pump. Fuck yeah, baby. We gotta do the weird stuff. We brought out the transistor radios vibes when you were gone. I got my bike wheel.
Wait, when I press these buttons, does it make sound?
Yes. What are you doing? What is that?
We have more topics. Let's save the LLM teddy bears. How are we gonna get Jasmine rich?
Raise her price right now on Substack.
I think the main issue with my Substack is not the price. It's the fact that I don't write enough and don't paywall anything and don't try very hard to get people to pay me.
Have you
That's
ever
probably-
written, when you're really frustrated with something, have you ever sat down for an
Yeah.
hour and rage typed and posted it and paywalled part of it? People are going to love it.
So I haven't, but I've thought about different things I could paywall, and I kind of want to run a little survey at some point, either now because I just hit 6 months, or like on my birthday, where people like fill out a survey as a birthday gift to me.
Why
I
don't you
know.
just try all of them
should-
and paywall all of them and see which
I'm
one
so
makes the
scared of
most money?
paywalling. I don't know. I shouldn't be. This is my job. For a while, I was like convince other people to paywall their stuff, and now I'm scared of it. But so like my
Yeah, I remember you bullied me about this exact thing. We had
on the
this
other
conversation, Jasmine. Why don't you put a paywall? I don't know.
You can just
It's scary. But okay, so like, yeah, I have thought about. I was like, okay, one thing is like, because I think I am a little bit scared of getting canceled. I'm scared of getting stuff wrong. I'm scared of being mean to people. I don't know, and so I'm like, maybe I can just put all
paywalling
of
is
my
like on the
mean takes
opposite
behind
side
a
of getting
paywall.
canceled. I've
Well,
done that.
so Yeah, like all my mean takes are behind a paywall, and so people know that everything I'm mad about, or like I could do like a mail, like I feel like Matt Iglesias is very good at this, where he like does a mailbag, and then so you just like do quick takes like that don't take any like brain power on like random stuff that's going on, and you can like be off the cuff about it, and then you take the spiciest question and you put it right above the paywall, and then you just like paywall your answer to it.
All right,
Um,
Jasmine,
Yeah, it's like the
we got to
Delta
talk about.
strategy.
I think gender has a role to play in this. When you were talking with all of these people about
Mm-hmm.
charging more, how did the conversations go with the median man and the median woman?
The median woman, I was okay. Yeah, women wanted more therapy. I mean, this is what I want right now. Like, I'd be like, no, like your content is really good. I swear. Like, I see so many Substacks as a job. I read so many Substacks, and I know that yours is actually genuinely amazing, and that's something that people would pay for. They'd be like, really? Like, I don't think so. I feel like I'm doing it wrong. I think it's bad. Da 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 da. And I'd be like, no, I think it's really good, and I think you deserve to be paid for your work, which I fully believe. To be clear, I think with the men, they were like, do you think I should do like .99? And I'm like, no, it looks cheap. And they're like, are you sure? And then they like look up all the other prices. They're like, Dylan Patel is charging like whatever. Do you think I should charge that? I was like, I think Dylan Patel is doing something different than you. So yeah, I something like that.
Yeah, I mean the sort of the confidence challenge that your work is worth paying for, I think, is something that I have found in fewer male creators and far more female.
I mean, how
ones.
many female Substackers are there? Period. Like, not very many, right? Like, it's just like a very the idea that like podcasters, like the idea that like everyone needs to hear my thoughts personally, and like because I don't feel like I fucking know anything, right? Like I don't like take AI. Like I didn't study computer science. Like I can't
Stop.
build.
We're not.
Model.
We're not.
Like,
I'm not indulging this. I'm not your therapist, so I'm just not going to indulge the bad thought process.
Nobody knows anything. We're
yeah.
just trying our
Yeah.
best. People
Yeah,
appreciate
and-
the sincerity.
And by the way,
More
like
than
I
anything
actually
else.
think there are a fair amount of female creators out there. I've been trying to like up my female voiced content. Snack shot. Can we shout out this
Oh,
Substack
yeah.
for a second?
Yeah.
Holy shit. There's this woman, she just like reviews snacks and like packaging of drinks and food.
Yeah,
And
she's good.
it is really, really compelling. Emily Sundberg, I mean, she makes way more money than I do
yeah.
doing this shit.
Emily's
And
very
that
good.
is like very feminine coded content, I think is fair to say. I don't know. I think it's just there are this sort of imposter syndrome is much more prevalent in you encounter that, you're socialized into having more questions about yourself if you're a woman than you are a man in 21st century America. And that also is a trend that I see manifested in the sort of creator community. So that would be my first cut, is just like apply like a 50% boost to whatever, worries you have of the like, I don't know, what is like the white man confidence version of.
Can we get more nuanced
Yeah.
into the anxiety here? Because I feel like so much of my posting is the anxiety of like you're only as good as your last post and you have to keep proving yourself. Is it just that the anxiety of it is ratcheted up even more around the money stuff? It's like the value. Like, I feel like I'm an anxious
like why?
poster.
Like, is a question like why am I not paywalling?
It's like what is the like I feel
Or-
like the root of the anxiety for female creators must be something a little bit different than
Well, I'm just like I don't really
content isn't
have
good
my
enough.
thoughts are like I'm like I don't know if my thoughts are that good. Like I don't know if this content's that
Well,
good.
what would convince you that your thoughts are good?
I don't know. I just maybe I guess if people paid me, I would think that my thoughts were better. I could imagine that being a thing that happens. I mean, so one
I
question
think
I
people
thought
pay
about
me
is
by
like
accident.
why am I freelancing? And I think that like part of the reason that I freelance sometimes is because I feel like even though I don't want to admit this, I wish I was like confident enough to like not admit this. But like I think part of why I freelance is because even though I'm not an institutional type of person generally, when you have an institution and a professional editor sign off on your thing, then you feel like it's and pay you money for it. Then you feel like it's valuable. And when I just am bullshitting on my Substack and it is unclear to me whether it is valuable. It is fun. I'm having a good time. I still do it. Like my email list is incredibly valuable to me. Most of my editors found me via my email list. But like
You want to know? You could do something to increase your value. You could go talk to some people that want to sell ads, and then you'll be like, oh, I could make 10 grand a post if I sold my soul. There's value.
Yeah, I don't think I don't mean value on the money side. I think I just mean like I'm like, oh, like I should be more rigorous. I should like know more
Also,
facts
another
before I try
question:
to
didn't
charge
you like
people.
quit your job to do this? That signals way more confidence than I have.
Oh, I just wanted to
Same.
quit my job also, but like I just wanted to have fun. I'm having a great time. Like I wanted to have a lot of fun, not having a boss and not having to align any stakeholders, and I'm like extremely succeeding at this goal, which is like I'm having a blast. My question is, how do I develop a cult of personality? You guys told me I should develop a cult of personality. How do I do that?
You just keep going.
Yeah.
You already have one. Just keep going.
Yeah, I think
post
you already
one.
have one. You're on the glide path. I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay,
Just post things.
just post.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I
it's
think
gotta-
I think the cults of personality, like your writing is distinctive enough that you don't like. There's enough
Wait.
voice in it that it's very clear it's you within 2 paragraphs. The podcast helps a lot because then people hear your voice and then they feel like they quote unquote know you even more. But
Yeah, a lot of people tell me
yeah.
they listen to me and they like hear me somewhere and they're like, "Oh, it's you." It's like the amount of people that listen to voiceovers and stuff is very odd.
Sometimes people even listen to the podcast. When it shocks me when people listen to the podcast, I'm like, what are you doing with your time? But you know,
I listen to Transistor Radio and I'm nominally an
Radio is
important
awesome.
person.
I love Transistor Radio.
All right. Well, we need to coin this. Does this have a name yet? It
This
doesn't. We
podcast?
don't have to force it. We should just keep it in the back of our head.
Okay, we can take readers. How did you guys come up
Yeah.
with Transistor Radio?
I think John had it like way before. Oh.
Damn.
You should go
All
after
right.
this and DM the TPPN people and say that you're a somewhat tech insider that wants to shit on AI and you've got thoughts, and then you're
I
going
wanna
to go
shit
on
on AI.
TPPN. Something.
I've
I don't
talked to
know.
the TVPN guys a bit. Yeah.
What
I
is the
should-
deal with this? Because I'm going on tomorrow, and it seems like
yeah.
a hilarious cultural phenomenon, and I'll
Yeah.
guess I just say things.
I think it's
Just-
low stakes and you should do it and it'll be awesome. I think they really I think the whole like X native podcast live show thing is super smart. I think that like doing something that's just like kind of boostery in a self-aware, conscious way is hilarious. The aesthetics are really good. I feel like they really got something going there. I
It's like
respect it a lot.
Transistor Radio, but full-time job.
I had it.
A little more substantive.
It's different. Yeah, like they're like it's like 3 hours a day, and they have guests that they like treat with respect. Like I don't think
they're
any of us
really
treat
high
each other with
production
respect on
value.
Transistor Radio. Yeah. And the
Yeah, I was
clip
supposed to
stuff
go
is
on
real.
Transistor Radio. I
Like
got
Yeah.
blocked.
I had like some rant about immigration policy that
Ranting
got,
about immigrants
like,
is not a good.
No, it got like 5 million views, and it
Yeah.
got picked up by the algorithm, and all these like Trump people were really mad at me. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of a fascinating little like artifact.
Yeah. No,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
the fact
Yeah.
that they post, like, X loves video clips right now. Everyone loves video clips. They post, like, every single person in the live forum and then as a video clip, and they tag them, so then they retweet it because it's, like, a status thing. It's brilliant. I love I love fun little media models. I just am scared to do them myself.
You'd be great.
But why?
I think this is the one thing holding back the cult of personality for you, Jasmine, is the sort of like insecurity on your sleeve is not something I see a lot of other people with cults of personalities.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe I'm wrong. Like, is that not the case? Or are there who are the cults of personalities with the insecurity on the sleeve?
Me.
You?
And I don't come off as insecure. I guess people describe me as big brother energy.
What?
I guess maybe yeah.
Like surveillance-y?
Oh no, like
Oh,
older brother.
older brother.
I guess that's the
Does
opposite.
Nathan seem like the surveillance state to me?
I think whatever my translation to online thing has come off as not insecure, and it comes across as like expressiveness.
Yeah. I don't know.
what
Like
I've heard.
Alex Cooper, like very confident.
Yeah.
Or it's like
I mean,
it's-
Emily
it's like not-
Sundberg, like
That's
really
like so
confident.
confident
Like,
it's boring.
I think it's also because as a woman, you also get a lot of feedback over the course of your life to be less confident. Like I actually think that I'm
Yeah.
like default a pretty assertive person, but
you
I've gotten
read your
consistent
DMs?
feedback in every career in every context I've ever been in to sound dumber on purpose. Like at my last job, I was given explicit feedback and I adjusted the way that I talk to sound stupider. So like for example, I learned this thing called the I'm an idiot sandwich, which is where you say I'm an idiot and I don't really know anything about this topic, but, and I say the opinion that I feel 100% confident in, but like, I wouldn't die on this hill. Let me know if I'm wrong. Da 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 da. Because otherwise the men's
That's
feelings will
really
get hurt.
sad.
And so,
Just stop reading your
God.
DMs for like 6 months. There's just two things.
so I
That's
feel like I've
horrible.
actually like it was default a pretty confident person, like, and have like learned in order to succeed in a professional environment and make people like me. People will like me more if I pretend to be stupid.
Okay. Well, I think.
Anyway,
I mean,
this
that
doesn't
is-
need to go on
that-
the podcast.
No, this is great. This is really sad and really awful. And for better or for worse, I don't think the quote unquote creator economy like rewards that same sort of like female self effacement.
Yeah, I think that's like a stakeholder alignment type thing.
Yeah. And that's really fucked up.
The
As
worst
a
part is
man
that
when
it
I
works.
read
In that context, which is not the creator economy, it totally works. You are much more non-threatening if you self-efface a lot. And it works in networking and journalism too. I mean, you should cut this part, but like if I am talking to a source who is a man in technology, I can get them to tell me more things by acting a little bit dumber because they think I don't know anything and they'll tell me more
Yeah.
of their secrets. So, yeah. Anyway, gender's fucked
Use
up.
that to your advantage.
Oh,
But
yeah.
not on the creator side.
Yeah.
Well, can we? I feel like we can. I feel like we can keep that sentence in. Well, it's up to you. I'll cut it if you want.
No,
Or
yeah,
is
none
it-
of my sources are gonna listen to like our.
Yeah, we're 75 minutes in here.
my sources are. If
They
they're
made it
listening,
through
they
bike
deserve-
noises.
Okay.
The final frontier of AI is like calling people and getting them to tell you stuff. There was a news story today about how there was like a Marco Rubio bot, which was calling like senior staffers, trying to, get them to tell them things because they thought it was Marco Rubio. I don't know. It's like you could probably have heard the difference in, on July 8th with where the models are. But I mean, we're really not that far from that. I mean, like, I feel like,
Yeah.
like even the investigative journalism, like scoopy research stuff where it's not impossible to see a world in which maybe there's like a new rebirth of investigative journalism because I can say like, send out my like research agent bots to like call the people in the sort of Boston sanitation department, and then I'll get like the scoop on the gossip or corruption.
I
or
also
whatever.
wonder if there's a thing where like people now trust journalists so little that they would actually trust like a technical solution more. Like you do some like zero knowledge shit to be like, oh, like I'm a person who is familiar with this. I'm part of this organization. I can like cryptographically verify my membership of like knowing this thing, being in this org, and then put my secret in a box. And then the journalist can like access that without ever knowing who I am. And like everyone just like opts into it. So there might be a world where like, because media has like fallen so far trust wise that like AI and crypto is like what saves investigative journalism. That could be fun.
That's a startup. Just give okay, so Nathan's got his 100 million for DeepSeek. We'll give Jasmine 100 million for the AI driven investigative.
I'm just
journalism.
asking for the same amount that Chatbot Arena got. And I'm going to give it back.
I'm gonna keep it and buy so many
Well,
chairs.
Nathan, it's tax deductible, okay? All right, I think we should call it here.
Okay.
This was fun. Excited to do this again. Thanks for hanging, guys.
Thanks for hanging out.